My name is Wan Ling. Welcome to our webinar on the topic Moving Forward with Research During Pandemic and Experience Sharing. Unfortunately, we are still not yet out of the pandemic. Therefore, this is a timely webinar. We believe this webinar will help those who are planning or doing research either as students, researcher, or supervisors. We have lined up a panel of students and lecturers to bring different perspectives and to share on different aspects of research-related activities. So before we begin, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Chong Mei Chan, Head of Department of Nursing Science, Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaya, to give the opening remarks. Prof. Chong, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee, for your introductions. Very good morning and salam sejahtera and salam Ramadan to Honorable Dr. Zamzaliza, Chairperson of the Malaysian Nursing Council of Public University, Dr. Azlina, Vice Chair for the Nursing Council, Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Prof. April, and all Deputy Deans, lecturers, nurses, and student nurses. First of all, we would like to thank Nursing Council for giving our department an opportunity to organize this event today. The Nursing Council is under the Ministry of Higher Education. Its members consist of all public universities who offer nursing program, namely UITM, UPM, UKM, USM, UNISA, UIA, UNIMAS, and last but not least, UMS. The role of Nursing Council is to promote nursing education and advancing nursing education. At the same time, sharing teaching and learning information and nursing-related information. This year, the Nursing Council has planned to organize webinar every month by different universities to share information in teaching and learning. We are very lucky today, the Department of Nursing Science, to organize this event today. Right? I would like to give some short introductions of our department. The Department of Nursing Science, is actually a pioneer in offering degree nursing since 1995. I was in the pioneer group. You can guess how old am I, right? So, and we also the pioneer in offer Master in Nursing Science in year 2007, right? And we have our first PhD students in 2007, and now we have about 30 PhD candidates from more than 9 countries, right? Mainly in Middle East and in Asia. So, and we are very proud here to share with all the participants here that our lecturers in Department of Nursing Science is very experienced in teaching and as well as in nursing practice. And our graduates are actually very marketable, right? And we also successfully produce nursing leaders, be it in public and in private institution, right? So we are also not only excel in teaching and learning. Our department is also actively involved in research. Our department has successfully obtained and involved in many research projects, and some are mega projects like MOSTI grant, TRGS, Grand Challenge grant, and FRGS. Some of the grants reach up to about a million ringgit grant. We also have a very good publication track, and we have shared our output at prominent conference. Some of our students from undergraduate, from master, and from PhD, they actually have won some award when presenting in international conference. We are very proud of our students. Up to now, we have about 10 manuscripts accepted in high impact journal this year. This is just April. We already have about 10 manuscripts accepted. And last year, despite of COVID pandemic, our department managed to publish 15 journal manuscript in peer review journal, and some also high impact journal. Right? We hope the effort will be continued with the rest of the year, right? So it has been, all us know, it has been more than a year. We are hit by COVID-19 pandemic, right? We started last year, March, which have been affected our daily life very much, especially in education and training that involve in practical. What more about health-related nursing? We are very much affected by that. Yeah. So, however, the challenge of pandemic has pushed us, to adapt new norm that develop nurses, most of us, from a novice in ICT, becoming an ICT savvy, and what we are having today, and able to adapt online teaching learning, which is not only within the public university, but also private university. And we can see more and more expert in Vietnam from the nursing profession coming along. Yeah. And most of us are quite comfortable in teaching online. We are living with ICT, so-called. But yeah, we are so comfortable with online teaching. What about conducting research during pandemic? Are we ready for that? Obviously, it is not simple task, which, but with God blessing, our students have managed to overcome the obstacle and completed their project, even during the pandemic. Yeah, hitting by pandemic. Hence, we would like to share our experience with all participants here. Of course, whatever we do or we did may not be the best practice. Yeah, this meeting is also served as a platform for information exchange. Yeah, that you may share your experience with us too. Okay, happy to see nurses are eager to learn. As now we have reached up to 900 registration for this event. Yeah, we are very proud of this. Yeah, and thank you very much to all participants for taking your time to attend this seminar. Moving forward with research during COVID pandemic. Right. Though we have almost 900 registration, but the registration for today still keep coming. Yeah. So I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation for the hardworking team for my Department of Nursing Science, Dr. Tang, Dr. Lee, Dr. Wimala, Dr. Chui, Madam ASEAN, and student panel, Tay Wai Ket, Rorin, and Fang Fang, and all lecturers and students. The Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Prof. April, and Prof. CJ for their support in the research activity. Finally, not forgetting, the FOM ICT group leading by Puan Nur Hayati Masilan, and visibility team leading by Puan Zara. So I wish you all to enjoy this session for today's seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Chong, for the opening welcome and the words of encouragement to all of us. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick note to our participant who joined the Zoom platform. There is a Q&A box function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So you can type your questions or your comment in that box. Okay, we will take as many questions as possible during the webinars. You can use either Bahasa Malaysia or English, yeah? So no problem about that. Now, right, we shall start the ball rolling. We have with us, okay, our panel of students. They are degree students and master students. Let me introduce to you, okay, our students, Simon Tay Wei Kat. Hi, are you there? Yes. And then Miss Rolin Ali. Hi, Miss Rolin. Okay. And Miss Kao Fang Fang. How are you? Okay. So now they will share with us their personal journey in a video presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the videos that has been prepared by our master student, Encik Muhammad Rashidan Ilin. So enjoy.
Hi everyone, you can call me Simus. I am a final year nursing student from University Malaya. It's lovely and great connecting with you all and my pleasure to share the experience here. Today, I will talk to you all about the challenges I faced while collecting data for my research paper in COVID-19 pandemic period. So I would like to tell you all the three main things, which are the problems I faced while collecting data, how I did the planning, and how I solved it. First of all, the challenges I faced were due to the movement control order, which implemented by our Malaysia government on end of February 2020, and it caused me cannot cross state to go back UN campus. That time was the period for all students supposed to start the collecting data. It kept delaying until end of July 2020, only we started to go back university. And the main challenge I faced was all students were banned from entering the hospital setting. And my target sampling was nurses who work in critical care unit, and the setting was University Malaya Medical Center. Initially, I planned to use the paper-based questionnaires to distribute. Certainly, there are many advantages to use the paper-based questionnaires, like it can generate much higher response rate than web questionnaires and easy to distribute the survey across large pool of the respondents. But due to the restriction, I shifted the plan to use web-based questionnaires, which the online surveys via a questionnaire website platform, Google Form, was sent out to the participants. I did send the email to every unit system managers, and through their helping, the participants completed the questionnaires using either a computer or a smartphone that could open the website link or scan the quick response code, the QR code. Now I'm going to show you the poster with quick response code, the QR code that I created. The QR code can direct a respondent to an online version of survey for immediate completion. Respondents can also quickly scan the QR code with their smartphone and easily access a mobile optimized version of online survey and ready for immediate completion. That's why I use the QR code method. And at the end of the October 2020, 264 critical care nurses were invited to participate in this study, but only with a response rate of 57%. It means I only managed to get total 150 of respondents. Continuously, I try privately message to the nurses who I know through the social media like Facebook, WhatsApp, who worked in the critical care unit or University Malaya Medical Center, and asking their help to distribute the online survey link or scan the QR code to the target population. Finally, it brushed up the response rate from 57% to 83%, which means I managed to get a total of 220 respondents. It was a minimal respondents I needed. Right now, share with you all the final project poster that I had done. At the end, hope you enjoy my sharing, and Have a good time.
Hello and a very good morning to everyone. I am Rolin Alip, and in this webinar sharing session, I'm going to share my experiences and challenges that I have faced during the pandemic as a postgraduate student. Actually, I'm a little bit excited because for me, sharing is the best way of learning. When WHO declared COVID 19 as a pandemic on March 11, 2020, and in response to it, our government had implemented MCO on March 17, 2020. I remembered during that time I was in a final year postgraduate student and also in the final phase of data collection for my research project. At time the MCO was announced, actually I was already managed to collect about 80% of my sample target. If you ask me about my feelings, of course, I was worried that I couldn't hand in the final project report as scheduled, and I'm also worried that I am not be able to graduate on time. Moreover, my samples were those from frontliners who were working at the maternity ward. And during that time, uh, in the early wave of pandemic, they were busy preparing COVID ward. So I don't expect to get a good response from them. But to my surprise, at the end of my data collection phase, I finally managed to achieve my targeted samples. Upon completion of my data collection, I thought my problem was settled. I eagerly about to start data analysis and plan to proceed writing the chapter 4 and 5. But unfortunately, it was not as I expected. I got demotivated frequently, and I found that the pandemic situation has had a significant effect on my own personal resilience. So I felt it has been difficult being unable to attend my normal life as we need to stay at home most of the time. This has indirectly impacted my ability to keep up on my writing phase. So, as to keep myself motivated and resilient, I stay connected with my course mates, and of course, we use technology to connect and meet virtually as we faced social isolation at that time. Usually, we will share our own research progress, or sometimes we just ventilate things that worries us the most. In other words, we kept motivating each other. Other than that, I also did spiritual practice for guidance, and it motivated me to be resilient. As we all realized in the beginning of pandemic, it was really difficult. I was very certain most of us were not ready. This is because all of a sudden we had entered into a virtual world after a countrywide MCO was announced. There was no formal training regarding how to join online meeting, how to share screen during presentation, how to create link or share meeting link, and etc. The move to fully online instructions, I'm sure it requires a lot of preparation, trial and error, and of course also time consuming. However, ready or not, the new norms of learning has been taken place. So, as a postgraduate student during the final semester, I tried as much as possible to adopt and adapt this extraordinary situation, meaning that I have worked remotely on my research project. I kept communicating with my supervisor through WhatsApp, emails, and digital meeting. and also creating my own schedule to keep pace on my write-up. If you ask me what I had learned from this pandemic as a postgraduate student, I learned it is important to know your support system so that you know who and how to connect with them when you need clarification or explanations about your project. This will ensure your final project or your final preparations of your final research project run smooth and according to the schedule. It is also crucial to improve IT skills as we now going towards fully virtual learning. Other than that, having a strong network and supportive family and friends will help us to enhance our mental well-being during this pandemic. As for conclusions, I'm happy I have completed my master program. I appreciate to all who have helped and supported me during the journey of my master program. I'm grateful for being part of University Malaya family. I genuinely thank University Malaya for providing all the necessary facilities to help me to complete this master program, especially during this pandemic. And also thank you for inviting me in this webinar sharing session. I wish everyone all the best and stay safe during this unprecedented time. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Fang Fang. Thank you for the organizer by giving me the opportunity to share my experience on research during pandemic. Currently, I am pursuing Master of Nursing Science at University Malaya in the final semester. My research project is a quasi-experimental study to determine the effectiveness of web-based simulations in enhancing nurses' knowledge in assessing and managing deteriorating patients. Right now, I had completed phase 2 of data collection, which means interventions were given to the respondents. In my point of view, the most challenging process of research during the COVID pandemic is the selections of a feasible and practical research topic. The common considerations during research topic selections is how important or relevant the topic is and the applicabilities of the research finding. However, during this pandemic, I need to put extra effort in considering its feasibility. For example, the first is whether adequate time to conduct the research, which might be delayed due to another wave of COVID pandemic, followed by the accessibility of equipment such as computer. Last but not least is the accessibility of study subjects. This is because during the pandemic, the targeted nurses might be deployed to other departments or placed to service. Thus, close follow-up with the progress and contingency plan of the targeted facilities is very important to estimate the accessibilities of the respondents. Besides, I also need to consider the contingency plan for my study interventions if the government imposed movement control order at my targeted state and facility, such as plan of changing a face-to-face continuous nursing education to a Google Meet and a physical survey to a virtual survey by using Google Form. Actually, I had faced a very difficult time in finding a feasible and practical research topic and running the project, especially during this COVID pandemic. However, I am lucky that I'm having my supervisor, Associate Prof. Chong Mei Chan, and co-supervisor Dr. Lai Li, who always trigger and brainstorm me on the scope of study, whether it is manageable by me, especially during this COVID pandemic. Furthermore, a series of questions being asked by my supervisor relating to the chosen research topic include the following. Are the hypotheses testable? Can the interventions be carried out safely? Could modifications be made to the interventions to improve safety in regards to COVID-19? Will the research be completed if there is another outbreak of COVID-19? On the basis of the answer to this question, it is important to explore whether the planned research questions and hypotheses can still be addressed by adapting the methodology to fit within the constraint of COVID-19. For example, I had changed the face-to-face CNE to a Google Meet CNE for the interventions of control group. There are lots of uncertainty, especially during COVID pandemic. For example, I had planned ahead the site in the selected facility to conduct my research. However, the selected site library was closed to become a clinic due to the outbreak of COVID and the limited space in the targeted facility. The computers were being occupied fully by the COVID vaccinations program. And finally, I found a suitable place, Library of Nursing College, which is located beside the targeted facility, to conduct my web-based simulations for the interventions group. During running the web-based simulations, I need to adhere to the social distancing guideline, my Sajatra scan, and clean all the computer before and after using it to make sure the safety of the respondent. I felt grateful that where the nurses, ward managers, nursing college, librarians in making my web-based simulations interventions successfully. In summary, the COVID-19 pandemic poses an enormous challenge for conducting students' research. The engagement of students, supervisors, and faculty in thoughtful discussions, plan ahead, and identify creative solutions is very crucial for moving undergraduate and graduate student research forward. I would like to conclude my sharing with this statement from a director of the University of Edinburgh Research Office, Dr. Thompson, where the pandemic gives us a chance to improve how we respond to challenges going forward. We have an opportunity to reset completely. With this, I end my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Rolin and Fang Fang, for sharing your experience. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you can type in your questions in the chat box now. While waiting for the question to populate the box, we now have a live session. Yeah. Okay, we have a live sessions sharing by our PhD student. She's none other than our academic staff, Puan Nur Azian Yahya. Okay, she has completed the examination of her thesis during pandemic, and we would like to hear how she managed her studies during those difficult times. So Puan Nur Azian, dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera to all, and happy 11th Ramadan.
Thank you, Dr. Wan Ling, for the kind of introduction and also the questions. And thank you also to the organizer for inviting me in participating to this webinar. So as we know that this pandemic outbreak has affected most of the people's life, and yes, it also has affected my life too. And the pandemic has significantly causes changes in my PhD planning, which actually few months away from my seminar thesis presentation. So because of this outbreak, I was told to slow down any of my research activity, but I'm still trying to do my seminar thesis presentation during the outbreak and submit my thesis before my final semester end. My daily life also changed and not like before, and few months I'm having trouble to adjust that. And the lockdown also makes me my life feels so lonely in my PhD journey, whereby I'm away from daily outdoor activities. It also makes me feel isolated at home and have to become full-time housewife and needs to do all the household activity. Also, I'm unable to socialize with my friends, discussing and sharing the ideas about our study. And at that point also, the communication with them were only through the media communication, such as WhatsApp, group, WeChat, Facebook, and Instagram. And I feel that it's not the same as you meet your friends physically, and it's totally different. The supervision and communication with my supervisor also have to use the online platform, which I have not used it before. And not only that, the examinations regarding PhD also must use online platforms such as Google Meet, whereby it was instructed by the university. I was stressed that time because I'm not used, because this is something new things that I need to learn fast. So not only that, my manuscript also was rejected many times, as the editor mentioned that their current focus is only on COVID issues. So I have to resubmit again in many journals. So how I overcome the situation, and I have to come out strategies so that I can focus to complete my PhD journey. So the first strategies that I do is that I learn on how to use the online platform, such as like Google Meeting, via YouTube, and then self-exploring the platform, doing try and error with my kids. And also at that time, the university also has conducted some of the courses related to the platform, which actually helps the student and staff very much. And also I have to set a new goal for my PhD, Road to Viva. So from that, I need to self-discipline myself, especially at home where there are lots of distraction. So I tell myself to focus on my PhD, especially on my write-up, and I have to concentrate for about 3 to 4 hours per day to complete my write-up. And also, I need to schedule my day. So I arrange the time management so that I can manage the time appropriately, whereby I can allocate my time to rest, study, and also spending my time with the family. And sometimes I also get a break for myself, like performing spiritual practices, reciting Quran, zikir, and also performing solat sunat, yeah, and also perform indoor exercise and cooking therapy, which actually helps to reduce my stress level. And I also establish a study area at home for myself, okay, setting area that can easily access to food, internet connectivity, and then I have to set a new PC, stationery, printer, textbook, which is related to research book, and also access to drinks. And beside than that, I have to buy some extra gadget for teaching and learning, such as webcam, and then a microphone for the online presentation. And lastly, my strategy is that I always keep in touch with my friends, yeah, via media communication such as WhatsApp, phone call, and also Telegram. Alhamdulillah, finally I managed to complete my PhD journey on December 24th last year, which was my viva voce, and submitted the hardbound thesis on the 22nd March 2021 this year, and now currently awaiting for another one more publication to complete the journey. So I would like to thank also to my supervisor, or my three supervisors, Prof. Katie, Prof. Wong, and Prof. Zuraida. So for keep giving me motivations along my PhD journey. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan Noazian. Yeah. So there are actually many nursing students and nurses among our audience here. So let's see if we have any questions from the member of the floor. Okay. Miss Yap Chulan, thank you. For your compliments. It's indeed a good, very good sharing with the significant impact of the pandemic. Keep up the good work. Thank you. So while waiting questions to come in, maybe I have a questions for our panels here. I just noticed that one of the challenge in doing research during pandemic is actually getting the sample size. Yeah, that's really a challenging part. But however, Roland, you mentioned that you managed to get the sample size that you're targeted. Could you share with us how do you manage to achieve that?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Lee, for the question. So, I think why I managed to get sample size, my targeted sample size, because I had a very great support and cooperation from the director of the hospitals and as well as from the nursing unit, where they had encouraged the participant to participate in my studies. And also I had a very supportive co-researcher from each hospital, where they helped me to in my data collection. That is why I think I managed to get my targeted samples. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolene. Okay, right. Prof. Chong, you'd like to say something? Yes, Prof. Chong? Yeah.
Thank you very much for all the student panelists to share the very significant success on your research. I would like to have one question, especially to Rolene, because Rolene have actually graduated, right? And she is now in Ministry of Health, Bahagian Latihan. Yep, proud of you for your position. Perhaps you would like to share with us, since you have successfully completed your research as a student, right, as a master student in UM, would like to know how would you encourage research in clinical practice as you are now back to Ministry of Health, especially during this pandemic. Do you have any plan for doing any research? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chong, for the question. Yes, of course, I have planned if I have, as I mentioned before, a good support and cooperation from the from the service side or from the college or the training institution. Of course, I love to cooperate with them. Thank you.
Prof. Chong. There is an audience for you from Chia Boon Lian. So it's a question for you actually. Okay, is it possible? This is a good one. This is a good one. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question.
I read for you first. Is it the question is it possible to share your spirit to achieve this journey to becoming a professor? You're always my mentor since nursing school those days. Prof. Chong, would you like to take the question?
The question is supposed to for panelists, now divert to me. or the leader of analysts become the leader of well, thank you for the question. Right. Because I'm not prepared for this, suddenly you ask me, yeah. Uh, to become at this level, of course, it is not easy. Maybe for me, maybe my age is almost towards the end of my journey already. So I guess reserved for this position, right? But well, out there, I mean, in nursing, I'm not the only professor out there. There are so many professors out there, right? Maybe one of the audience here also a professor. They can also share their experience in the chat box. And for myself, to reach this level, of course, you need a lot of hard work, right? Need a lot of support. Not only yourself, you need a lot of support from people around you. Okay, your family, your colleagues, your supervisor, and a lot of inspiration from people, who already professor before me. Okay, and you need to work very hard, and then you need to be very, what you call that, uh, working hard and have the enthusiastic to learn in terms of lifelong learning. Yeah, especially for now, as I mentioned in my speech just now. Yeah, uh, in the era before era the pandemic, most of us are novice in ICT. Never, we already know the Google Meet there. We know a lot of facility there, but we just feel very contented with our normal face-to-face teaching. And then what? So when hit by pandemic, so we have to learn. So at this age, I'm almost towards the end of my career journey, but I still have to learn. Those struggling, but still learn. And now we can even conduct webinar as such, accommodate so many participants, right? Those days you can only have a chance to talk in front of the TV and invited you for the TV talk kind of thing. But now, with all this with the pandemic actually triggered us to learn more, right? So I guess you need to be very perseverance, right? You have to be very determined of whatever you do, right? And you can see people around us, even like Madam Aljan, she just finished her PhD, right? I mean, at least compared to a lot of younger generation, you finish PhD so much earlier, right? With the work commitment, and none of us here, even our student, when they come for nursing in master nursing, some even came for degree. They already have family. They are working. They have family, right? And they are doing study as well. So it's not easy, right? So I guess if you determine to do something, you go for it. Yeah, especially we nurses, we have gone through so much. Yeah, it's for me to reach this level. I don't know how much of time I spent for my study, right? I started with certificate, 3 years certificate, and then after graduate certificate, we upgrade to diploma, with top up courses, right? So after that, I go on with my midwifery another 1 year. After midwifery, I go on with degree for another 2 years. You just calculate how much time I have spent for my study. Then after degree, I spend for another few more years for master and end up with PhD, right? So I guess not only me can reach that, all of you, whoever who have participated in this seminar, adapt this spirit, and move on to the highest that you can reach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Chong. Well, we personally know Prof. Chong, and she's really worked very hard, and the visionary leaders, that perhaps that the audience would like to know more can communicate with Prof. Chong and know all her strategies that she has planned for all of us to move forward in the academia. Now, there is a questions regarding about the Google form. All right, I think more or less it's a few questions about Google form. Now I know Simon has a very creative way of creating Google form, so maybe this question will be appropriate for you. There are some are actually related. So basically, the audience would like to interested when you start collecting data online, okay, was it hard to communicate with the participant after they submitted the data if you need to contact them? And were the nurses participated actively, or is it hard to get participants? And then another question also, is it a good idea to use Google Form in compare to paper? Yeah. So Simon, would you like to take the questions?
Yes, definitely. One of the advantages of using the Google form is the tabulation of the data more easier compared to the paper questionnaires. But at the same time, it is not too easy to persuade the people to answer it. And it is not easy, definitely. And the networking skills take a first place to for the researcher to get the respondents. And especially at the pandemic period, while doing the research, and it is definitely far from our idea. In my opinion, the touch and in the person interaction is essential. Yeah, in the first place, and I think we must overcome all the difficulties that the life throws at us with the best we are provided with, and perhaps I think we should realign our motives by engaging in things that are important to us. And at the same time, I have also realized that the relationship, the friendships that between the respondents with us are not only built on the foundation of the physical presence, but rather on the meaningful conversation you get to have while collecting data, even if they are through a computer or the phone. Yeah, which the lesson I had learned.
Thank you, Simon. Okay, maybe we take one last question, sir. Okay. Okay, this question is actually from YouTube, yeah? Okay. All right. So I think for Nazian, I think this question is actually direct to you. So the question is, may I know how you made the time management to ensure your PhD journey ended with GOT, especially like myself as a part-time student?
Thank you, Dr. Wan Ling. Yeah, Miss Rohaida, thank you for your questions. Okay, time management, yeah. So the most important thing is that you have to discipline yourself. Okay, like myself, because of the pandemic, I have to lock down in my house. So I could spend a lot of time, yeah, doing my PhD, especially right up at home. So like usually when um, if you're working, so you have to go to the office a bit early. So once the lockdown, during the lockdown, I actually still able to manage my time by like still awake until midnight. So I during the midnight I spent about 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours, and then I wake up a bit late in the morning. So like usually I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare myself to go to work, prepare my kids also to go to school. But during the lockdown, so I can wake up a bit late, around 6 o'clock. So I can spend with the family, like cooking, plan plan your cooking time. Then from there, after you have finished all the household activities, then you start doing your write up. So that's what I mean by time management. So the most important thing is that you have to discipline yourself, and then you have to set a goal, what you want to achieve after when you actually registered to do your PhD. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Panazian. Yeah, I feel that we miss out on one person. Fang Fang, I think I have one question for you. Because why? During pandemic, a lot of my students shy away from doing intervention, and you did intervention, right? So maybe you can share with me one of those, maybe just one incident that you feel the most unforgettable incidents, that you feel that your audience will benefit from that incident, Would you be able to recall any?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lee. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, the most unforgettable incidents that I had experienced when conducting my research during pandemic is the plan ahead solutions or plan ahead methodology ruin and suddenly you cannot be carried out as planned. Like such as that I have mentioned in my recorded video, the library in the facility suddenly being closed, or the computer in the facility being occupied for vaccinations program. But I got actually got another terrible incidents, not which is not due to the pandemic, is the flash content in the web-based simulations was blocked, and due to the Adobe is no longer support the flash player. So this means if the web-based simulations is not functioning, I will be not able to achieve my primary objective. But luckily, with God grace lah, I'm able to solve these super big incidents and problems. The above examples actually that I had experienced was actually is out of my control and our control. So therefore, in my opinions, besides the feasibilities of the study engagements in thoughtful discussions with the supervisors that I had mentioned in my recorded video, I think our personal mentalities and spiritually should be very strong because what is the experimental design is not easy to carry out, and so that's we don't get discouraged when we experience any setback and challenges. So hope that those who are doing research currently will have a visions to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So wish you all best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Fang Fang. Okay, I would like to thank all our panel of students, yeah, because they actually, have actually a lot of things to share. But because of time constraint, it's already 1 hour past our event, so it's 10:30 by now. So we hope that in future we will have more webinars, to talk about research during pandemic. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have here the perspective of students doing research during pandemic. So now we hear about the perspective coming from the lecturers, from the academia. So joining me in this meeting room on my left, right, are my admirable colleague. They has more than 20 years of experience. They hold various administration portfolios. They are senior lecturers of the departments. Yeah? They have hold many competitive grants, as mentioned by Prof. Chong earlier on, such as FRGS, TRGS, and university grant. They still actively supervise many undergraduates and postgraduate students to the completion. So therefore, I believe they will bring a wealth of information that come from their experience. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panel speaker, Dr. Vimala Ramu, right? Okay. Dr. Tang Liu and Dr. Chui Ping Lei. So, without much ado, uh, we shall start with Wim. Is that okay with you? Right. Now, I know that you supervise, you coordinate undergraduate research project since 2015, many years, yeah? And then, and you still coordinating one cohort during pandemic. So how do you manage to do all that despite all the difficult times that we faced during the pandemic? Could you share with us, please?
Hi, thank you, Wan Nin, for giving me the opportunity to share with you all. Okay, actually, of course, the pandemic has changed many of the ways that we do things, especially in related to teaching and learning, but more about the research and research supervisions. We as a supervisors and also as a coordinators are pressured in ensuring the students meet their deadline. This is even important for those courseworks because they are set date that we need to meet. Although I'm also supervising the postgraduate students, but the experience of supervising undergraduate and coordinating undergraduate, I find it's more pressured, especially it is because of the deadline set. Okay, what happened it is that in our setting, the students, undergraduate students, they do their research project usually in year 3. Okay, when there's year 3, we have a semester 1, 2, and a special STEM as a small STEM, yeah. So what happened is that the students usually will do their research proposal in a STEM 1 of year 3. And then they will finish up their project and submit their project in year 4, semester 1. Okay, so they have a gap between semester 2 and the special STEM in semester 3 to do their research related works. They will do the validation and reliability tests of the instrument. They will do the pilot study, and as well as they will collect the data. So when they come into year 4, semester 1, the data is already being collected. They will do the analysis and write up the project. So what happened is during the pandemic, the student was in the semester 2 of their studies, and the MCO was implemented, and all this teaching learning stopped for time temporarily, and the students were sent back to their home, okay, and they were given an unexpected semester break. Okay, and then after that, the teaching learning started from home base through online platform. So that the lecturers and the supervisors also was very busy trying to adapt the new learning teaching styles. Okay, we have to learn a lot of way of to teach. Something is new for us to teach using the online methods, and also learning how to do assessments. Okay, so many things, many tasks was occupied us. Okay, and when we realized, and also the students also realized, they couldn't do any of the research related activities when they are in the semester 2. Okay, so to solve these problems, what we had is all the coordinator together with the supervisor, we make some discussions, and we come up with the solutions that we advise the students to do online validation. Okay? So with that, the students started to do online validation. However, it takes longer time, okay, rather than the normal way of doing validations. Okay, and after the validation over, that was in somewhere in July, the students were allowed to come back to the campus. Okay, so then they started to try to do their pilot study. That's the time that we realized it is not feasible to do a study, especially surveys, using these traditional methods. Yes, because they couldn't access to the patients in the ward as their samples. They also can't go to the outpatient places to collect the data because of those SOPs, and also the number of patients is really reduced. The same thing also happens, they cannot go to the hospitals areas to collect data due to the SOPs. Okay? So as another solution, we had a discussion with all the supervisors, and then we thought, okay, we have to refine the study objectives, the scope of the studies, and also the approach. So we decided to do an online method. We refined the sample and also the scope, okay, to make it more feasible for the students. Okay, with that, the student have to learn how to do the online survey method, the Google form, okay, and they proceeded with the online data collection. Okay, supervisors also had their online discussion, supervising the students through online method. Okay, and the supervisors also closely worked with the student. Okay, students were advised to use all those media available to collect their data. Okay, some of the supervisors even share their own contacts with the students for them to go into the social medias to collect the data. And the supervisors also contacted all the nursing leaders in the clinical area to get the contacts of the nurses, like WhatsApp group, okay, this and all those things which help the students to collect data through the this informal groups. Okay, And another way that we thought of is that the assessment process. The assessment process. Also, we thought this cannot be doing it by normal method. We change it again to be online. Okay, so we had the students to have present their research presentations using online methods, and also we teach them how to do e-poster presentation. Okay, so this helps the students to do their presentation online and also their e-posters online to disseminate their findings. Okay, so this is how we managed to meet the target date, okay, for the research project. Yeah, however, we faced a few limitation using this method. One of it was a low response rate. Okay, as we know that there's using social media, it is not so easy to get the sample, to get a response. And also in the clinical areas, the nurses are very busy during the pandemic time. Okay, they are very worked out. Okay, so when we give them the questionnaires and surveys to answer, they are not responding that well. We understand the situation. And also there could be some sampling bias because the samples that we got, the students got, is all those who are using the digital technologies. So we can't access to the actual or the real population that we may need it. Okay? So all these could have affected the validity of the findings. Okay, however, we know this is an undergraduate program. The most important is learning the research process rather than outcome of the research. Okay, so with that, we learn a few things through this process. First of all, we have to be a dynamic, okay, and flexible. Okay, sometimes we have to relook into the study objectives, scopes, okay, to make sure the students able to achieve it. Sometimes we have to be flexible to change the methods, okay, so that it is still possible to carry out the research and it's what do you call that, during the pandemic time. Okay, nothing can stop us from doing what we really need to do. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Wim. Wow, I can see that it is definitely not easy, coordinating, research projects of the students, during this time of pandemic. Yeah. But one thing I really appreciate, Wim, that because you're coordinating, and I myself have students, okay, that you coordinate, and then the fact that I appreciate that you always keep us updated, the progress of the students, the difficulties, and that's in one way it's really helped us. Yeah. Okay, now research is not just coordinating, but it also another aspect to it. One of it is definitely supervising the student. Yeah, be it undergraduates or postgraduate students, each of them need attention. Now, with us, we have my colleague Leo. Yeah, she has both local and international students. So, Leo, could you share with us how do you support these students, during pandemic, especially those overseas international time with a different time zone and etc.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Wan Ling, for your introduction and the questions. Good morning, everybody, and Salam Ramadan to all the Muslims. I'm very happy to be here to share with you my experience on how to supervise a student during the pandemic, and also what can we as a supervisors, okay, to have an effective supervision even during this critical period. Right. I think this COVID-19 has completely disrupt our normal schedules, normal patterns of our daily life, and also our working life. Right. I think since last year, we have been going through all this term from this movement control order. We have EMCO, we have CMCO, we have RMCO. All this MCO is really make a huge shift in the academic world, or in the education world, in which we are no longer talking about face-to-face teaching, learning, or supervision, in which the student sitting by your side and you discuss with the student. And we move from this conventional method to online supervision, or we call a virtual supervision during this pandemic period. And the university were closed, and the students are not allowed to return to the campus. All right, and the lecturers have to stay at home. Same go to the students. So we are working from home, and the student also studying at home. And because of that, the supervision process some sort like interrupted. Okay, especially those who are doing ongoing research project. Okay, so my personal opinion is, I think face to face still is slightly better as compared to online supervision, in which the face to face meeting or the discussion will be strengthen the bonding or relationship between the supervisors and the students, and also to be more focused, in which you can get the reply immediately, and also we have a better output. However, social distancing is one of the essential SOP we need to follow. So because of that, virtual supervision of the online supervision is a choice during this pandemic period. So what are the advantages of doing online supervision? I think for online supervision, I think it's very convenient, in which the student or the supervisors no need to come to a working place. They can just sit at home, switch on the laptop, sit back and just relax and talk to the supervisor or the student about the research, right? And also another one is flexibility. Flexibility also one of the factor that motivate the student to be positive in online doing this supervision. However, because of this convenience and the flexibility, all right, it will delay the process of a process in the submission the research project or the research thesis, all right. And because of this convenient and also flexibility, there's a few challenges or shortcoming. What are the challenges that I face during this supervision in the pandemic? Just like Wan Ling was telling, I have overseas student and I have local student. So one of it is a time factor, the time constraint. So those who are student are staying like student are from overseas, their time zone is different from Malaysia. All right. And during this pandemic also, some of them are called to go back to the working place, to the hospital to work. And because of that, the meeting time sometimes will change. So sometimes I have to do it at night to suit the student time. All right. So because of that, so that I can make up the meeting with the student. So I don't delay the research process. And the clashes of time also is one of the factor. And the students sometimes they are tired after working. And some of the students, because of shortage, they have to work more than 24 hours per day during the pandemic time. And because of that, it's very difficult to supervise them for this research during the pandemic. Another challenges is on this internet connectivity, the limitation in connectivity, and some of the students they are from a remote area. Not everybody have a good internet connectivity. So when they're in a remote area, during the discussion online, that is a bit disrupted. So we couldn't have a full supervision during online. So there's a setback. So what we can do is we're using phone call or during the email. But the process will be a bit delayed because we cannot. Sometimes I need to get an immediate response to clear with the student. So because of this limitation in the connectivity, so we have to delay the process and we get the response on the very next day. And for the local students, I think for this internet problem, they will be given, like some of the company from the phone, they are given them a data. All right, so there won't be any problem as compared with the overseas students. Okay. Another challenges that I feel is the student didn't answer your phone, didn't answer your email. They are just like lost contact with you for a while. All right. So that is a big challenges. However, whatever message that you send to them, they just don't respond to you. All right. Don't respond to you, and they feel like they are lost contact and MIA. All right. But after a few days, so they come back to you. All right. So when they come back to me, then I will ask them, what are the problem? What are the problem that the student face that you are lost of contact? All right. Some of them will tell they are busy working. Some of them say they have family problem during the pandemic. All right. So that is another challenges. And what I have shared with you is the time factors, the times constraint, all right, the irregular contact with the student and the supervisors, and also technology issues. So there also other challenges like student diversity, students from a different background. They are not, these students are not only undergrad, they're postgrad, they're from different background. So they have also different community. They're facing different problem at their own area. As you know, COVID-19 is a pandemic problem. So everybody are facing different challenges at their own work area and own working place. And what are the students' perception? Some of the students, they are very positive, okay, especially those who are undergrad students, they are young, so they explore the new technology and the new norm. However, I have a group of students, especially the postgraduate students, they are quite senior. They are senior, not only in age, not only in working place, they're also senior in age. So they are a bit quite difficult to adapt to the new technologies. So in which I have to give them a lot of guidance and how to go about it, in which like how to do a online meeting, how to share screen, and how to create, all right, a Google form. Because some of it, you're impossible to go to distribute the questionnaire at the physical setting. And what we know is, if you want to have a good or fast or not delay research process, all right, so we must have an effective interaction, okay? And this effective interaction, so will prompt me to come up with a few thoughts or a few ways how to help the students, especially in the research during this pandemic. So the measures that what we say, the first thing is, I think what I'm doing is I myself must be prepared. Okay, prepare myself. Now the face-to-face supervision, we had to be minimized looking at the current situation. We are mentally prepared. We are going for online supervision. Another thing is we need to tell the student what other platform we are going to use. Okay, we have to allow a choice, like we have to use Google Meet, we can use Zoom, right? We can use Microsoft Teams, and we don't have, you can even use Telegram. Because Telegram, I think using, occupied as a low connectivity as compared with the other platform. Okay, we tell them what platform we're going to use, what method we're going to use, so that we can communicate with the students. And beside of that, we also need to provide emotional and social support to the students. Just like what I'm sharing earlier on, the students, even though they are studying, but because of pandemic shortage of staff, they're being called back to work in the hospital. Okay, so because of the shortage, sometimes they have to work more than 24 hours. There are sometimes when they are facing, they are under this surveillance, they are not allowed to go back. So because of that, plus the working, plus all this research and all that, it will affect, it will create stress among this group of students. So we have to provide them emotional and social support. I remember I have one student, one day when I talked to her, she just cried in front of me without talking anything, just cry very hard. Without saying a word, she just start crying when I just connect with her. So when I asked her, actually what's happening? Later, when she calmed down, I think she cried almost about more than 5 minutes. After I asked her, actually, what happened to you? And she said, because she's so worried, she cannot finish her research in time. All right, she cannot finish research in time, and she cannot get any sample. Right. So what I can do is I calm her down and I help. Okay, I help ways to find out how to help her in, especially in the validation and distribution of the questionnaire, and guide her to create the Google form and contact the hospital authority, the nursing administration, to get the questionnaire distributed. So mental status or mental well-being is very important among the student, especially during this pandemic time. Another thing that what we can do is we can share the productivity or engagement among students. I think during the conventional face-to-face period, I'm not sure about others, but for me, the student that I supervise, we hardly get the student around, okay, to talk about their research. We only this group of students, because many of them they are doing a part-time or doing at their own working place, so they don't have time, don't have chance to meet each other. So they only will meet maybe during the candidature defense or during proposal defense. But it's good during this online supervision. So we will create a platform. So get the student that under my supervision, right, to make them to talk about their research. Maybe it's no need to be very formal. Just talk about their research. What is their progress? All right. What is the difficulty they have faced? And hopefully with this peer support, they're able to overcome, okay, and able to pass up the thesis in time. And also another thing that I feel that we must promote a work and life balance, in which I think flexibility is very important. Flexibility for the schedule. So what I'm trying to say here is, normally I will ask a student, okay, I will ask student, so can you give me a tentative date? When can you finish this chapter? When can you pass up and let me check your work? So I give them the flexibility, but sometimes it cannot be too long. All right, we will give them some limit. Okay, so here trying to support them lah, trying to support them during this difficult time, during this pandemic time. And besides that, also we have to look at their physical well-being also, right? And because most of the students, just like what Azia mentioned, they are come in, they're already married, they have children, they'll not only have their study to do, they have the family to look after. All right. So as a supervisor, so we have to be understanding, right, and to be flexible so that to accommodate the student needs. Okay. In conclusion, the supervision in research not only just an academic activity, right? Supervise the thesis or the research. We also help the student to learn, right? To learn other than research. Okay. For example, I think the student will be more like critical thinker, right? More integrity. So we also teach them the soft skills, how to interact with people, how to do a good collaboration during the data collection method, and also to be more how to say, more uphold the truth. That means you should not violate any principle of research or any ethical issues. I think with the identify challenges and also the ways to support and help the student during the pandemic time, hopefully the student able to graduate and able to submit, okay, the research in time. So with that, that is end of my sharing. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Leon. Wow, okay. That's a valuable information that can benefit to all of us, especially the nursing lecturers who are supervising students, yeah, in their research project. Now, in the academia, we're not just coordinating, not just supervising, but also we need to do a research. So I have with me Ping Lei, who has done an international studies during the pandemic. You know, during this time also, there's a lot of COVID-related research coming around. So she has managed to start the research from the beginning to the end, okay, within a short period of time. So let's hear from Ping Lei about how she goes around and getting things done, okay, during this time.
Thank you, Chairperson Wan Ling. Okay, a very good morning to everybody. I'm Chui. Okay, I'm one of the lecturer in the nursing science department. I was granted a 9-month sabbatical leave started from 12 March 2020. Almost at the same time, the government imposed 14 days of MCO from 18 March 2020 nationwide to curb the spread of COVID-19 infection in Malaysia. And in line with the number of infected cases continuously rising and increasingly more worrying, this has triggered a wave of mental health issue. We foresee the research opportunity and decided to explore on the nurses' mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia and countries in Southeast Asia. And realizing that COVID-19 is a seasonal disease, which means everything have to do it as soon as possible to capture the intended outcome before the pandemic ends. So under the MCO, we have decided to conduct a cross-sectional online survey and choose to self-fund our study. At that time, we are not allowed to go to the office. And most of the time, we communicated via email, WhatsApp call, Google Meet, and MS Teams. We faced little problem in completing the proposal, and subsequently we have submitted to University Malaya Medical Center and MMRR Medical Ethics Research Application. Honestly, it has not been easy, especially many offices were closed at that time. But we managed to obtain expeditious approval within a month. The real challenges came from when we applied permission to conduct the study in the respective hospital, CRC. This hospital was selected from the Peninsula Malaysia and also the East Malaysia. Okay, 3 hospitals were selected from the Central Region, Hospital Sungai Buloh, Hospital Kuala Lumpur, and University Malaya Medical Center. One from the Southern Region, Hospital Tuanku Jafas Remban, and one from the Eastern Region, Hospital Tunku Ampuan Afsan, Kuantan. And from the East Malaysia, we have selected Hospital Umum Sarawak. Each hospital CRC has its own SOP, and most of the formed requests to be signed by many signatories from various departments. At that time, as a lot of the offices were closed and staff took turns to work from on site and also work from home, and the guidelines and policy were continuously updated. Everybody seems to be very busy and occupied. So we have problem to get the form signed. So basically, we just have to follow up with many calls after the email. Okay, and finally, we managed to start data collection at the middle of April 2020. We have sent out invitation letter to our collaborator abroad, and most of the countries, they're welcoming our invitations to collaborate. We told them it's a self-funded study, and it has been approved by the Malaysia and MRR. We allowed them to share our patient information sheet. For those who need to apply their own country ethical approval, we share our proposal for them to apply. However, some of the countries, they have declined our invitation. For example, Myanmar declined us because they don't have the enough time and also funding to apply for ethics approval and also in doing the translations of questionnaire. Okay. On top of this, other reasons are not participating when long duration in getting the ethical approval, for example, are from Brunei or some of the country, they are having the similar study. Okay, for example, these are in Singapore. So, in view of our target population was nurses who are providing care to patient and also patient under investigation for COVID-19. Okay, we are very specific here. We email the online survey link to the matron and the sister in the respective designated hospital. And the matron and the sister will email the link to the target populations of nurses in the COVID-19 ward. And the consent was taken online by a click, okay? And we don't ask the email address to maintain anonymous. And we are so grateful to all the matrons and sisters as they have been very supportive. And we finally collected almost 1,000 data from the nurses from 6 hospitals in Malaysia and another 1,000 data from the nurses from our overseas collaborator. Okay, Indonesia, Philippines, India, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. We are now finalizing the data and preparing for publication. With regards to the challenges and strategy, okay, I would like to highlight here, number one is the no response from an email. I think the earlier speaker have mentioned about this. During the MCO, we depend a lot on email to communicate. We have resent many emails. In fact, we found that quite a lot of the info on the website, for example, the email address was not updated. What we did was to make many calls, okay? Just like this collecting data in qualitative study, snowballing method. So we reach to the person in charge, then rectify the correct email address before we sending out the email. Okay. Second will be the this is the communication breakdown. Some of the time, email are not enough to get the message across. So we have to use multiple methods. A phone call help to clarify the misunderstanding, and the Google Meet and the MS Team are important for group discussion. Next is on this the poor response rate. Perhaps too much of study is ongoing at that time. Our nurses were very busy or maybe under stress. So during the MCO, we just have to send numerous reminders to encourage the nurses to participate in the online survey. Poor response is common in any online survey. The next challenges is poor internet connectivity. Not about this remote area. I'm saying in KL, okay, similarly I have the same problem, poor internet connectivity. And last is on this problem in the technological and digital literacy. Okay, yeah, I think everybody agree on this. Most of the online software is user friendly, but I do have problem, for example, in downloading or sometimes setting up the apps. Okay, but I'm also grateful because my children were at home because of the MCO. You know, the young generation is more digital, and I just have to learn from them. Okay, I think that's all. I will end my session here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ping Lei, for the valuable sharing. Yeah, in fact, that one thing doing research during pandemic, everything to be at the super speed. Now you have to do proposals, coming up with proposals in a very short period of time, within a week, get ethics approvals fast, and then start the project rolling because it's seasonal. Now, so we has already, each of the panels already given their sharing about from their respective aspect. Now we will take questions from the audience. Now I would like to thank you for all the questions that's been posed to us. We will try to take as many as possible. But I also see some raising hands in the Zoom. So unfortunately, this Zoom platform will not allow you to speak. So if you have any questions or comment, please type in the Q&A box, or even chat box. Okay, we will look at both. So let's look at the question. Let's look at the first questions. Let me see. Okay, perhaps these questions would be appropriate for you, Wim. This question is about about the validity of data. So the question is, how do you control the validity of data if the students are using the online survey, because the survey can be submitted many times by the same respondent?
Thank you,
Yes,
Anlin, and thank you for the questions. Okay. So if you see the features in the Google form, there's in the setting you have there, you can set whether you can answer multiple or single. Okay, if you set it a single response, so when the respondent already responded to the questionnaire, and when they attempt again, it will be not sent out. Okay, so it will blocked by the Google form. Okay, the features are there. So with that, we can control the number of respondents. from multiple entries. I think I answered that. Thank you.
Yeah. Simon, are you there, Simon? Maybe, even though this floor is for the lecturers, but I would like to also open up to the panels of the students, even Prof. Chong, to come and contribute their ideas, their comments, things that I personally experienced, so it will benefit the audience. Yeah. So Simon, are you still there? No. How about you? Do you have problems with multiple submissions? Because he's using QR code, that is something that, that is kind of convenient for those who are doing data collection using the Google form. Okay, while waiting, well, maybe we'll move on to the next questions, yeah? Now, some of the questions we already typed in the chat box, but we will also post it to benefit our audience who are joining the YouTube live. So, okay, next one. Right. This one is this is, I think, much related to students factor. Yeah. Leo, I think this question would be suitable. Yeah, from your point of view, because the Mr. Muzahir is asking. He says that we know that this pandemic giving a double or triple workload to healthcare staff that in the same time are students. So what is your opinion and advice regarding the reason of busy in workplace that may affect their study because of time management is the main aspect in this issue? So I guess he's asking whether how do those students who's also working and study at the same time, managing it, completing their research.
Thank you, Wan Ling, and thank you, Muzahir, for your questions. Yes, I do agree with you. It's not easy to study at the same time and also working, right? That is a really is a very burden for the students, study and also working. But when you start to enroll to study and as a part time or as a working students, we have to be very good in time management. Okay, what I can advise here is you have to balance up between your working and also study life and also family life. Okay, and we only have 7 days per week and 24 hours, right? So if you want to be success in your study, or so you can submit your thesis or research in time, so we have to manage our time, and we have to sacrifice maybe during the weekend. Okay, maybe one of the Saturdays, and also one of the Saturdays to concentrate in your study beside your working hours, and also keep some time for your family, right? I do understand, because I also went through the same study when I was doing my master, so in which I'm doing part-time for my master. So what I say is, I keep my Sunday for my children, for my families, and on Saturday I will spend the whole day in my office or the library, so that I can complete my work. So in the last choice is really you cannot cope. You have to talk to someone, and you have to appeal or apply from university to defer the semester. So that is the last choice. You really cannot cope. And just remember, balance up your working life and study, and also try to talk to someone, okay, to ventilate or to keep your mental well-being, and also with the peer support, then will help you to complete your research in time, right? So that is my answer for that. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Leong. Right, and then another questions from Miss Rose Idayu. This one is regarding about patient information sheets. Maybe Ping Lei, you can answer the questions. Is asking about. May I know how we can handle on participant information sheet and consent prior collecting data, since the data collection will be carried out as online method?
Thank you for the questions, Wan Ling. Okay. For patients' information sheet, we have embedded in the questionnaires. So meaning to say, when the link go to the participants, the nurses, okay, there is a link for them to click and they will read the patient information sheet. And if they agree to it, then they will press the button for agree, consented to be participated in the study. Am I answer your questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. Yeah, Ping Lei, maybe this also you can help with Miss Catherine Tan, because she was asking about this. She thinks that the pandemic also teaches us that collecting data does not just need to be pen and paper. She said that, in fact, the web-based questionnaires can generate larger sample size. So she was asking, what are the opinions of the panelists? Maybe Wim and also Leon can also to add on if you would like to. By Miss Catherine Tan. Yeah,
Okay.
she was asking, can the web-based questionnaire generate larger sample size?
Okay, I thank you for the questions. Okay, so basically for our studies, we don't post it in social media. Okay, because we have a very specific target group, but we send the link to the sister via WhatsApp also instead on top of email. So we managed to get quite this big group of nurses to participate from the whole Malaysia. So I totally agree with you, Catherine. Okay, web-based questionnaire help us to reach out to a bigger group of participants.
Well, I also receive web-based questionnaires, and I mean, from my personal experience, sometimes online questionnaire is something challenging because there is no personal contact. I just receive the email anonymously, and I don't know who's the senders, and then we are so busy. So I got to admit, sometimes I just kind of brush it aside. So I'm sure there are actually strategies, be it whether you send your questionnaires using the WhatsApp, social media, FB, or even web-based. That could be a strategies. Perhaps the panel can suggest some of those strategies how we can sort of attract people to answer an online methods of data collection.
Wan Nin, I can try to add some things. Okay, it is very true that when you get a questionnaire through online from someone who you doesn't know at all, you have a tendency not to answer it. Okay, and also you will start thinking whether this person is sending the questions through a proper process. Okay, whether there is a proper ethical approval for the questionnaire. Okay, so all these doubts make us sometimes we're not able to answer the question. Sometimes we just put it aside. Okay, so it's for a better way to submit these questions to online to get a better participant. I think more explanation, introduction, and the supporting documents are important. Okay, and besides that, I think some things like offering some kind of tokens. Okay, appreciations like a voucher. If you answer, you get some things. These kind of things will attract the larger participants. Okay, this is from my experience that I'm sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, true. Yeah, yes. So I think like what Dr. Wim has said, that when you send out your questionnaire, it must be professional. It has to be have all the information that is necessary in it. Okay, follow the ethical guideline, and then sometimes I find that if you send to a general group, from my personal experience, if you're the general group, there is no personal touch. So sometimes what I have tried this, I also done an online survey. I send to the person that I know as much as possible. Usually when you send personally to the person, the chances that they will participate will be much, much higher. And of course, sometimes you need to, I also have my master students that she has to do repetitions of keep on sending the invitation. So to get people, to remind people, the survey is still going on, please participate. So these are little tips that I personally has sort of employed. Okay, right.
May I add on with the questions on how you actually control the group of people, right? Inclusion, exclusion criteria. To a certain extent, you can control. Being a researcher, you need to have a lot of networking, right? For instance, if I'm going to do a research on older people, then I will get the networking from NGO who deal with older people. Then you will get the help to disseminate the online questionnaire to a specific group of people to say that you still can control it, not just you blast up to any general mail and all that to give to anybody. You can control which group of people you want, right? And get help from whatever agency that can help you to disseminate the questionnaire. That let's say you are going to conduct a research related to pediatric carer. So you will need to work with the nurses in the pediatric ward, yeah, or you get the help from the nursing director or nursing manager who work in the pediatric ward, right? Or you work with people in the clinic. So to a certain extent, you still can control. However, you need to have a very good networking system to support you. Thank you.
I would like to share my experience with regards to the question just now. How do I control that only the right respondent who meet the inclusion criteria eligible to answer the questionnaire? Okay, in my Google form. Okay, my target group are the nurses provided care to the COVID-19 patient. I only send the link to the sister from the COVID-19 in charge of the COVID-19 ward, and the matron and the sister share the link to the nurses. On top of this, in my items, I also have one questions to ask them whether they have provided care to the COVID-19 patients. So from the response data that I collected, I managed to see that there are also a small number of the nurses, they have put no. So I have double layers of this control in making control that only the eligible respondent they answer to my questions.
Thank you, Ping Lei. I believe that this this answer by Prof. Chong and Dr. Chui actually has addressed the query by Ms. No Shuhada Saleh. I hope that you heard the answer to your questions. So, but for the benefit of the audience, actually, this is the questions. How to control the only right respondent who made the inclusion criteria is eligible to answer the Google form, because we can't control and we don't know the respondent who will answer the questionnaire through the online platform. So thank you for the questions, Ms. Nur Shuhada. Right. Okay. Any more? Is there any more questions from the members of the floor? Let's see. Okay. Let me look at the chat box. Actually, there is this one question. Shall we take these questions by Mr. Muzahir from the chat box? Yeah. So I open this to all the panels here, okay, including our panel students. Now, Mr. Muzahir was asking, what do you think about the benefit of having online learning for part-time students compared to they come to physical to classes? What is the good and bad about the online learning? Well, I guess things about online learning and online doing research, they can be sort of related. Anybody would like to take that questions? Anybody like to take the questions? Maybe Puan Hazia would like to give it a try.
Sorry, may I know the questions
I
posed
think,
by Mr. Muzahir?
yeah, he was actually asking our opinion comparing online learning with face-to-face. Okay, I guess we can also apply the same concept with online supervision or research with face-to-face. So he was asking, what are the good and bad?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Muzahir, for the questions. To me, experience as a lecturer teaching the nursing skills to the students using online platform. I find it's a bit difficult, yeah, because I can only mention about the theory, the concept of that particular topics. But when come to hands-on the skills, so I find it's very difficult. So I have to use some videos, and also I have to upload some of the videos into the YouTube so that my students could be able to watch the video first before they can come back to the campus and practice in front of me. So I find that is the bad one about the bad things about online platform, yeah. But otherwise, some of the teaching that I have done on theory base, I have no problems on that. It should be manageable. Only things I can't see my students very well because when I post the presentation of my slides, so sometimes the student disappeared, yeah, and then sometimes the students mute and also they off the camera. So I could not catch up my students during the teaching and learning session. So that's what I face. Yeah, but because the pandemic is still going on, so and our teaching and learning is still as online session. So I think to me, we as a lecturer need to be more like disciplined to our and control the classroom or the online classroom, and also have to make sure that our student is actually active on that time. So to me, while performing the teaching, so you need to ask them from time to time so that the students can always be alert and call them by their name, yeah, during the classroom session. So I hope I answer what Mr. Muzahir is asking. Thank you.
Maybe I would like to add to what Puan Zian was telling about the online, right? So thank you, Muzahir, for raising this question. So online learning actually is good, all right, for those who especially who are working, they're doing part-time, in which they maybe don't have time to come to attend a physical class. However, putting aside of issue of technology, online platform, the internet connectivity, the student factors are very important. So the student must be self-motivated, so they must be stay focused, right? And know what they want and to achieve the goal, right? So you cannot say, so because online is very flexible and it's very convenient. So you can just on it and you can just close the camera and mute everything and you can do whatever you want, all right? So when the lecturer calling your name, maybe some of you, if you're alert, you will answer. If not alert, you will just silence, all right? So that is a setback or a limitation in online. However, I think the online will be continue even though after the pandemic is over, right? So everybody now is moving from physical classes to the virtual learning. So for part time and for a working student, I think this is a very good platform. So I hope Musahil is one of the students who are pursuing maybe undergrad or postgrad study. So we wish you all the best, right? And success in your study. If you are a student, right? Okay, so that's my answer for that, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Panazian. Thank you, Leo. Okay, now we have one more questions. Yeah, this is from actually from the YouTube. Yeah, for those joining the YouTube live, it's coming from Shanti Krishnan. So the question is, what is your advice to nurses who intend to pursue postgraduate courses during the pandemic period? So this question is kind of general, so I will open to all the members, yeah, of the panel, to anybody who would like to take that questions. The question is, I repeat, what is your advice to the nurses who intend to pursue postgraduate courses during the pandemic period?
It is a very good question, right? My advice is don't waste the chance. Get the chance whenever you can, especially during pandemic. Everything is online, right? Some of my students, currently the year one master student, initially they were very uncomfortable because they cannot come over to the campus. But now, after a year of online learning, they really enjoyed it because they don't have to leave their family, right? They save their traveling, they save their accommodation fees, right? So grab all the chance. Initially, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable because all the while we have been exposed to face-to-face learning, right? So online learning, of course, like what Dr. Leong say, you have to be very disciplined, yeah, because for postgraduate student, I guess if you want to continue a study, you more or less know your direction, you more or less know what is your objective of study, unlike the undergraduate student are still quite immature as compared to postgrad. Usually as a postgrad student, nobody forced you to come for any learning. You come here because of own initiative, right? So you should be able to control yourself. Of course, by and large, it's easy to say than doing to control yourself. Sometimes we will lose our direction for whatever distraction you have at home. But if you are the person who is very disciplined, by all means, grab the chance whenever you can. Yeah. So a lot in our life, yeah, the opportunity and chance will not come to you, will knock at your doorstep every day. If you get the chance, just do it and study whenever as soon as possible before your hair grow white. Right? So your memory will be getting lesser. Then you feel very difficult to follow whatever a new thing come along. Right? Of course, I said it's lifelong learning. It's easier to learn when you are still young, when you don't have much family commitment. Right? So all in all, is up to individual. Yeah, whatever you do, once you decide to do it properly and with determination, you will go very far. And of course, for nursing, yeah, we come along the way, take a longer track as compared to other discipline, especially when you start with diploma, you have to go for degree, you have to go for so many courses before you can reach the top. Yeah. I mean, if you want to reach PhD, it takes a long way. So do it as soon as possible and as young as possible, you can do it, right? So nobody is going to stop you. Of course, when you want to study, you must make sure you are ready for it. You settle everything before you study so that you can concentrate in your study, right? Don't, if you are not ready for any commitment, please don't start your study because it's going to ruin your life. Yeah, it's going to make you miserable. When you want to study, you want to make sure you are ready and then you enjoy the journey of your learning, right? Not coming here for exam, not thinking about exam. You go for any further study, just your mission is you want to learn something, you want to enrich yourself, you want to improve your education, your knowledge, and your competency, right? Or some of you maybe it's for your career pathway, right? So yes, go for it if you are ready for it, and you're most welcome to join UM for your PG, yeah, Master in Nursing or Master by Research or PhD, yeah. We have a lot of lecturers here who are very competent in supervising you already. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Chong, for those many tips given to the students. Yes, we welcome you. Okay, you set your heart to do your studies, and then here you can do it. Yeah, because we have students who have completed their studies. So if they can do it, you can also do it too. Right? We almost coming to an end. Now, maybe what I would like to ask to our panel of speakers to give maybe one or two take-home messages to our audience before we close this session. We start with, shall we start with Dr. Chui? One or two take-home messages?
Okay. Um, COVID-19 basically have changed the way we work and also communicate. And the number of cases, as you can see now, are fluctuating. Okay, so for those planning to do research, please plan your research methodology carefully and get yourself vaccinated. Get ready a contingency plan. You must have plan A, plan B, or even plan C. Okay, just be enthusiastic as you can be.
Dr. Leo, yeah.
Hi. Right. What I learned from this pandemic is we need to be dynamic, right, versatile, and ever ready to learn a new things and adapt it to be as soon as possible. Right. Here, I would like to take opportunity to thank the University of Malaya, the ADAPT unit, the e-learning of Faculty of Medicine, and also Department of Nursing Science. They always to give us a full support whatever activity we want to do. And again, I think we will say that nothing is impossible. Everything also can. Malaysia boleh, UN boleh, and nurses pun boleh. Right. So that is the end my sharing here. Right.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Wim?
Thank you, Anin. I think for me, through this journey, what we learn is that things can change at any time, unexpectedly, and we have to be prepared for it. Okay, so we have to be think what are the ways to overcome it, rather than just blocked down by the situations happening around us. Okay, for me, the most important is the teamwork. Okay, between the coordinators and supervisors, that which I learned is really helped, because one person can think it better. Okay, but when there's a few more brain and brainstorming, it is really, really helpful. Okay, and also the hard work of the students, which is not cannot be looked down. Okay, the students are really, really willing to do. Okay, and willing to go forward, and also willing to work together with us. Okay, that is the most important thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to thank all my colleagues, yeah, for these informative sessions. I'm sure our audience has benefited a lot, okay, from their sharing. So for my take, now I myself learning here actually, yeah, from my colleague and from the audience and Prof. Chong. So my take is the way I see it will be number one. I guess you need to acquire IT related skills. You have to overcome those difficulties because we are now living in an era, online learning, online research, online supervision is going to be the new norm. So we can do it. So you have to really find your way to acquire those skills. There are a lot of resources available, such as YouTube. Okay, number two, you might need to consider re-strategizing your research methodologies. So to take considerations of the pandemic, okay, like turning your interventions into online methods, so data collection using technology, and etc. Okay, number third, the way I see it is to have a good communication and good relationship with your supervisor, because they are there to support you. So you must have that good rapport with them, so that they can guide you and facilitate you. Do not come to the supervisor on a last minute note, okay? Because last minute work is always pretty hazardous, yeah? So lastly, I think, okay, would be finding your support. Find out what works best for you, because you need all the support you need, either physically or mentally or even social support. Yeah? Find your support. So with that, okay, I would like to end this sessions, but on behalf of the organizing committee, we will want to thank you to the audience for joining us in this webinar. So to obtain the certificate for this webinar, please fill the evaluation form. Yeah, as you can see on the screen right now. Can we have the slides? Right. You can fill the evaluation form either by scanning the QR code that is flashing on the slides now, or you can also click on the URL link that is going to be pasted in the chat box. The URL link pasted on the chat box. Yeah. So meanwhile, we would like to share some good news with our audience about our new incoming course. We would like to take this opportunity to share with you that we are planning to offer a 1-year course on Master of Nursing Science. So please visit our website for further information. We look forward for you to come and join us in this journey of excellence. Right, without much ado, I bid everybody farewell. Okay, stay safe, and kita jaga kita. Goodbye and thank you.
When love comes in, ooh la la la. Love comes in, ooh la la la.